Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and we finally have some updates on the car market. I've been gone for a while because we have been settling into our new house. Things are, well, as settled as they will be for the next little while, and so hopefully I'll be able to be a little bit more consistent with these videos again. But anyways, before we get into the video, link to my car buying guide in the description down below, and then some of the information provided in today's video comes from Cox Automotive. Let's get into it. We're going to start things off by going over the used car market first, and then we'll dive into the new car market second. And then, as always, we'll sum things up and talk about what this means for the overall car market. So when it comes to the used car market, what we're seeing is that wholesale prices are actually on the rise. Now, not by a massive amount. The seasonally adjusted rise that we are currently seeing right now is only like 0.3% month over month. Now, I shouldn't say only. I mean, that's still a decent amount to see the used car market go up. But this isn't like a crazy rise like what we saw over the last few years. And so what this just means is that, well, used car prices are most likely going to continue to go up. And the reason why I say continue is that used car prices on the retail side of things have already increased. They're now up to $25,361. Used car day supply right now, if you're wondering, 47 days, and there's 2.51 million units. So funny enough, used car prices are currently going up at the same time that inventory and day supply is going up, which normally you think that that wouldn't be a thing, but I'll explain a little bit later in this video as to why used car prices are going up at the same time that there's more inventory, right? Supply and demand dynamics seem a little bit weird, but once I explain all of it, it'll make a lot more sense. And then when it comes to retail sales, they're still really strong. They have, slightly slumped a little bit as of late, but not by a massive amount. I mean, 9% month over month, but something to note, and this is from August to September. September is, generally speaking, especially during an election year, not really all that strong of a sales month. And we'll bring the election stuff in a little bit later. Won't be political, I promise. Anyways, that's the used car market. So basically there's more supply and vehicles are selling for more money. Crazy. Now with the new car market, Cox Automotive is describing it as stable. 2.76 million units available of inventory. So this isn't quite as high as what we saw prior to the pandemic, but still, these are elevated inventory levels. 81 days supply, 47,823 is the average listing price with a new car. So with the new car market, what we're seeing is basically kind of like a leveling off. If you don't remember, just a few months ago, the day supply number shot through the roof because retail sales declined. Now, part of that was a lack of reporting because of the hacks that happened with dealership computer systems. But another part of that was an actual slowdown with the market, but things have kind of gone back to the status quo. And the status quo this year is basically no price increases or decreases across the board. Again, that $47,000 price, that's what we've seen over the course of the whole year. And then sales are slightly increasing, right? There's a little bit more volume, but nowhere near what we saw prior to the pandemic. And that's actually why we have inventory levels when it comes to the day supply numbers similar to what we had prior to the pandemic. Again, prior to the pandemic, new car inventory was over 3 million units, and we were at about a 90-day supply. We're at less than 3 million units at an 81-day supply, right? I think that was the number. Anyways, just over 80 days for the supply. And so this shows that, well, lower volume overall. And again, that's why all the estimates show that we're still going to be in that 15 million, not quite 16 million unit range for new cars, whereas prior to the pandemic, it was closer to, 17, 18 million units. So the new car market is stable, and I think that's what automakers want. They would rather sell fewer cars and just make more money on a per unit basis. And I mean, you read what automakers are saying, this is definitely the case. I mean, I've got a Toyota behind me, and I think Toyota is a good example of this. They've literally come out and said that they are going to purposefully produce fewer cars so that they can keep all of the pricing on those cars stable. So it'll be interesting to see if this is something that ever cracks, but that is kind of the status quo at this point. And so I want to bring this all together and also bring in the election. So again, like I said, this is not going to be political. all that needs to be stated is whenever there is an election, there is always uncertainty around the election. And this election is no different. Frankly, the uncertainty associated with this election is far greater than I think we've seen with prior elections, right? Things always get heated up, but it seems, especially right now, things are very heated up. And so this is going to dampen things within the car market. Again, when people feel like there's uncertainty in the world, they're not going to spend money, especially on vehicles that are the second most expensive thing that most people will ever buy in their life, outside of a hot tub. Okay, I'm just kidding. I just found out hot tubs the other week are really expensive, but no, houses, right? Houses are the most expensive thing that people will buy. And so what I personally think is going to happen with both the new car market and the used car market moving forward, considering what we have currently building up, is I think that we're actually going to continue to see these depressed sales with both markets. Again, they're consistent, but they're consistently lower than what we saw prior to the pandemic. But as soon as the election happens, then I think that we're actually going to see an increase in vehicle sales because, again, I'm not keeping this political, whichever candidate gets elected will basically get rid of all the uncertainty because people will know what's going to happen moving forward. And once people no longer have that feeling of uncertainty, then they'll be more willing to spend money. Now, some of you might argue that that might not be the case depending on one candidate over the other, and feel free to mention that in the comments down below. But that's kind of my take with things moving forward is I think that we've got a lot of uncertainty in the market, and so that's why we see these inventory levels being stable or slightly building up. But we still have lower inventory levels compared to the pandemic, so that's why the pricing isn't really coming down with both of the markets. Again, the used car market doesn't have enough inventory, and the new car market, well, it's got a lot of inventory, but not as much as what we had before. I guess not enough to decrease the prices, which is kind of frustrating, but also that's the automakers. The used car market doesn't have enough inventory because we just don't have enough inventory there, right? That's just going to do what it's going to do. But the new car market, well, they're fixing things. Anyways, I don't know where to. We'll see you.